Hello, everybody. My name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
Why are you laughing already?
I don't know.
This is the 28th. Welcome back to the 28th episode of Inner Wider Screen, where
Two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
very giggly mood today.
Yeah.
Martha, quick question for you. How many books can you put in an empty backpack?
How many books can you put in an empty backpack?
Yes.
Well, why is the backpack empty?
That's not what I'm asking you. Don't think about it.
But I'm asking you.
Because I just bought the backpack. It's a brand new backpack. I got it out of the store. It was
Okay, so it's a
empty.
brand new backpack. So there's like no holes in it or anything.
No, it's a whole new backpack, and I want to put
Whole
books in
new
it. But yeah. I just bought it like fresh
And you
off the
just bought
shelf.
it and you want to know how many books you can
I
put
want to
in
know how
it.
many books I can put in an empty backpack. Yeah.
How many books can you put in an empty backpack? Well, as many as you can fit into an empty backpack.
It's not the answer. I needed like a specific number of like books. Like I can only put so many books. You know what I mean?
How many books?
Before it's full, like or not before it's full, but like before it's like
Well, what genre are you reading?
all different genres. I'm open to expanding my taste, my horizons.
Okay, can I also ask you this? Is it an ebook or are they real books?
No. These are
Because-
physical copies. These are books. You go to the bookstore and you
Plural.
buy a
Okay.
book.
Okay.
Book. You
Okay.
put a book in. These are the books I'm looking. I'm asking how many physical books, can I put in my backpack? How many physical books can I put in an empty backpack, Martha? That's the question.
How many physical books can you put in a backpack? That's a simple question.
It's a loaded question, isn't it?
It's a loaded question, actually. So, I'm gonna go with 7.
Can you explain your rationale for 7?
I like that number.
So, good guess. The answer is 1 because after you put one book in there, it's no longer an empty backpack.
Well, that's not technically true if you did have an ebook. All right. I have one right here and it holds several books in it. I could put that in my backpack. It's 1, but yeah, but there's so many other books on there.
But what did I tell you? Physical. I said physical. I'm not talking about ebooks.
I shouldn't have asked. Like,
You know what? So we're off to a good start today. This is a wonderful episode. It's Bones Day. This is beautiful.
it's a Bones Day.
Yes, this is beautiful.
Yes.
No, but we are back for another edition of our spooky October celebration. And as you can see, Martha's all dressed up for the event. For all the witches. Oh, what's up?
I have a broom
Oh, Jesus, that's a broom.
and I can fly.
Can you
Except-
fly around on it for us? Can you give us a demonstration?
Well, I would, but I don't have gas in it, so I need to stop
Gas
at a
has
gas
been
station.
very expensive, but gas has been pretty pricey
It's
recently.
been expensive, so I just haven't,
You just haven't had the chance. No, I get it. I get it.
You
But
know?
like October's almost up. Like you gotta give it a fly around it.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely do that. Don't worry about it.
Go on a joyride at some point. No, but yeah, we're continuing our Halloween spectacular with Hocus Pocus. Very fun Halloween movie. But before we get into that, Martha, how's your week been? You catch up on any movies or TV?
Why do you bother asking me that?
Because sometimes you surprise me. Like sometimes you're like, I saw this one
That's fair.
movie,
Yeah.
and I just I'm waiting for that one sometimes.
I did not, though. I did make several plans to watch movies.
So it's a start. You made the plan. You just didn't follow through with it.
I just had to. I never followed through with it.
Understood.
Yeah. Eventually, I will see Shang-Chi. One day. Yep.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be on Disney Plus next month
Really?
for free.
Okay.
I believe in November. I could be wrong, but I think it's November.
All right. Then I guess I gotta wait a month. I don't want to pay money for it anymore.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that's your plan is I will see Shang-Chi at one point, and then that's
At
the
one
extent.
point in my life.
I will see the movie, and that's okay.
I
I watched movies this week, Martha.
Wow.
Like a few. It was like I had some time to kill. So, I mean, I watched a few, if I can find them. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. Don't know why. I wanted to watch Transformers, like the first one. I didn't really care for it. I was kind of disappointed. Then I did see Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yeah, I finally saw it. Really fun movie. The action in it is probably the best in the Marvel movies, I think. Ooh. I think that's like the highlight for me. Like the fighting style and the way they shoot it, I think is so much fun. My favorite scene is this one in a subway, or yeah, I guess train, subway kind of thing. Yeah, that was my favorite. But no, really fun movie. I'm not one of those people that's like it's one of my favorite Marvel movies or anything like that. But I think it's a lot of fun. Okay. And then the most recent one I watched, I was a little disappointed by. Unfortunately, Halloween Kills.
Oh.
I went to go see it this weekend. I enjoyed it for what it was. Like the kills, they were fun, all that stuff. But like, it also at the same time kind of felt like a waste of time watching it. Cause there's a third one coming out next year, and that's supposed to be like kind of the ending of this trilogy that they've set up. So this one, I was worried that it was just gonna be like filler. It's kind of what it is.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know. I think the kills were fun, but everything else around it was just kind of like whatever. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I still want to see it. My brother saw it and he basically said the same thing. He said that the gore in it was fantastic, which I'm like, that's what I'm here for anyway. But it was like definitely, the script and then the acting in it that was like
yeah, because they're trying to tie it back to like the original 1978 one and then tie it to this last one. Okay. And then like you're learning things about Michael, and then Jamie Lee Curtis for the most part is stuck in a hospital bed for the whole movie. Like I wish like they gave her more to, I don't know, like yeah, I don't know. And then there's this weird, without spoiling anything, kind of they kind of explore, I guess, like what it is to have like sort of a mob mentality in the movie among a group of people. And I feel like it was just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like I don't know. Like I enjoyed watching it. It's just like I honestly don't think I would go back to watching this unless like the new one comes out next year and I want to like catch up or whatever. But still, like I enjoyed it. I mean, I guess enough, barely enough. All right. But I would give it a shot. It is also on Peacock. Watch it. Yeah, I would. It's also on Peacock, but I think you have to have the paid version to watch it. It was like what they did with the Boss Baby sequel. No one uses Peacock.
Yeah, I'll steal it from my brother. I'm pretty sure that's how he watched it.
That's fair. I was literally reading like an article about like why they're doing it for Peacock, and like they were talking about how like Netflix, Hulu, like Disney, they all had like tens and tens of millions of subscribers. HBO, Peacock has like 2 million paid subscribers.
Yeah, because it's like what like, are you really
what
giving
are you paying
us?
Peacock for? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, but they don't have much.
Also, I just don't think it's a good name for a streaming service.
Definitely
hey, have you subscribed to Peacock?
Every time I hear it, I think of that Katy Perry song.
Katy Perry song?
Yeah. Let me see your Peacock.
Yeah, and that's not, I'm sorry, that's not what you want to think about when you're accessing a streaming service.
No, you do not.
Anyways, I watched a few other movies this week, but those were the ones that like most stuck out. But yeah, and then of course our movie this week, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
One last thing before we get into it, though. Thanks for that. One last thing before we get into it, though. Make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
For those who are listening on the audio, we appreciate y'all so much. Make sure you're following us on there too. But watch us on YouTube too. You get a lot more out of it. You see her costumes. I was trying to think of an adjective to describe them, but I can't really think of one. And then you see these backgrounds too. I put a lot of effort into finding these backgrounds, dude. Like I look it up for like whole like minute and a half finding a background. It's a lot of energy that I put into it. So
I spend an hour crying in my closet trying to find clothes for this.
See, yeah, it's just we don't want that to go to waste. So definitely check us out on there. Like the video, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But yeah, so this week, Martha, like we've said already, we are talking about Hocus Pocus. So just to introduce this movie real quick, this is directed by, I'm sure you know a lot about this man. I didn't even realize how much love you must have for this man until I looked up everything that he's done.
He has built my childhood.
I think he's built your childhood and your young adulthood.
And my adulthood.
Because check this out. So previously he directed Newsies, all three High School Musical movies. That movie, This Is It, the Michael Jackson one after he passed, he did that. He did the Descendants films. He also directed episodes of Andy Mack.
How did I not know that?
You didn't know that?
Oh my god.
I thought you knew that.
Oh my god. Okay,
he did direct
really...
like a few episodes, not a lot, but he did do some work on it. And he did direct episodes of Julie and the Phantoms.
He directed the whole thing. Get out.
I checked, and there was like 1 or 2 episodes that he didn't direct.
Oh, okay. So that would be their choreographer who kind of like took over the role, or like he was like trying.
But for the most part, he was the whole creative force behind it, right? And then also he's also known for choreographing like a lot of movies and different concert tours for a lot of artists. So definitely, very much a musical background for this guy. But yeah, I would imagine he holds a very special place in your heart.
So close. I mean, it just.
It's beautiful, I know. It's beautiful.
I love this
stars
man.
Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, Omri Katz, Thora Birch, and Vanessa Shaw. Released, get this, July 16th, 1993. They released this in the middle of the summer.
This is, I think, maybe like second or third movie that is like a Halloween movie that we've done, which happened in like the summer or like not October.
Let me look back. So Orphan came out in July as well.
Yeah.
And Beetlejuice came out in March.
Yeah.
So none of these movies.
Okay.
And then I was thinking about this too. Another one of my favorite horror movies is Scream. That came out in December. And the new one's coming out in January. So it's honestly funny. Like, I think Halloween, like, and Halloween Kills are like the only ones I've seen in the last couple of years to actually come out like in October, like around Halloween season.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting.
But I guess, to me, Halloween is all year long. So why can't we just have Halloween movies all year long?
All year long, exactly.
I was thinking the other day that like because we had gone to see A Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and we saw it in theater.
Oh, we did. Yeah, I remember that.
And I saw a memory. Summer too. Yeah, it was over the summer, but in my head I was like, well, it must have come out in October because I saw a memory on Snapchat where I was like eating spaghetti. And the reason, wait, it all makes sense. Just
okay, yeah, keep talking.
I had a picture of me eating spaghetti. And so in my head, I was like, oh, this must have been the day that I went to go see Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And the reason I associate it with that was because we had gone as a group and I wasn't finished eating dinner yet. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm not letting this spaghetti go to waste. And so I put the spaghetti in a bag. And I took it to the theater, and I ate it in the theater.
I mean, I can't think of a better movie theater snack.
What better movie snack than spaghetti and meatballs?
Forget nachos?
No, none of that. Spaghetti.
Real Italian right there.
Real Italian, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. On that note, Hocus Pocus was made on a $28 million budget, only grossed about $45 million worldwide, so it was not very successful at the box office, nor was it very successful critically. I checked this earlier. It actually had a 38% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not a good number. So a lot of critics did not really like the movie.
That is shocking.
Despite all of that, despite everything going against it, every year on TV, this movie is running nonstop. Families are coming to this movie, and this has been like cult classic. Like more than a lot of movies, this is like definition of cult classic. Like people found this movie, families found it, and now it's like one of the more iconic Halloween movies out there. Yeah. So it's pretty cool that even when it came out, it didn't do great. It found its audience, and now we're here talking about it. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
We are the audience.
We are the audience for these films. Yes. So I would assume that you saw this like I did as a kid first.
Yeah, I have been watching this movie for so long that I don't even remember the first time I saw it. Like it's just been so long since I've started watching it, and I've not stopped. Every year, this is like one of the first movies I watch to kick off Halloween season. Yeah, and it's a movie that like my whole family loves to enjoy. So that is kind of our kickoff. We'll usually watch it as a family, or not all of us, some of us. I love this movie. It's it's so nice. It's very nostalgic, I think, watching it, because it's. I mean, this is a movie I've watched since I was a kid, and I've grown up watching it. Still as an adult, I still watch it. 'Cause
Right.
It's just so good. It's just it's a classic. It's a Halloween staple.
Definitely is.
I have so much fun watching it.
Yeah. I'm sure, I can't remember the first time either. I mean, I'm sure it was some ABC Family, whoever Nights of Halloween thing they do every single year. I'm sure it was one of those that I started watching this, and yeah, I've always had like a lot of fun with this, but it wasn't until maybe last year or 2 years ago, I think it was last year, that I watched it for the first time as like an adult, and I like appreciated it like so much more, like a lot of the comedy that I didn't even remember much when I was a kid. I was like, why is this movie so freaking funny? Like,
Yeah.
besides Scream, because I love Scream with all my heart, this is probably like the funniest Halloween movie, I think, for me to watch. Like, I think I get so many laughs out of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with
great.
this one. So, yeah, very excited we're
Without-
talking about this.
I'm very excited to talk about this too.
I mean, even from the, like, I will say, like, right off the bat from the movie, though, it feels just like you're right in Halloween. Because, like, the first shot's, like, kind of like you're flying kind of, like, over all the houses with, like, the music.
If you
I'm
were
like,
a witch.
yes. I'm like, I want to be a witch. I want to be friends with them.
I want to be a witch so bad.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so we're kind of we start off this movie in Salem in 1460.
14?
No,
Isn't it? It had to be 16 something because it's 1993. They said 300 years. So it had to be 1693, I guess.
Is it 1693?
Let me fact check. I don't see how it wouldn't be 1693. But
I did do a presentation on the Salem witch trials.
1693 in Salem,
1693. Okay. Then where did I get the 14 from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't.
Well,
no math.
And I have no think. But
Very true.
yeah, so it starts off, Salem times, the Salem witch trials. Everyone loves to hear about that.
Oh yes.
And we see this one boy awake from his slumber. Mm-hmm. And this is
his name
Thackeray.
is. Okay, I'm surprised you remember his first name. I just remember his name was Binks.
Thackeray Binks.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Because I think it's funny to say.
Yes.
Thackeray. So Thackeray wakes up from a slumber and is like, Emily, where is my sister Emily?
Mm-hmm.
And
Emily's gone.
Emily's gone. So, yeah, it's like these witches are collecting children in broad daylight. They are bold. They are.
Oh yeah, they
bold.
don't care.
They do not care.
They do not care. They're like, we will feed on these children's souls right now.
Yeah. So they gotta do what they gotta do. So
they're witches. They need it.
learning. Yeah, these witches learning the children. Well, they get the Sarah, his sister, and he's like, I gotta go save my sister, and he's all running and going to try and save his sister, and he spends a lot of time just like watching them.
He does an absolutely terrible job of avoiding himself from getting caught.
Yeah,
he's just like he's literally like this, like
just kind of like, wonder what they're doing. It's weird.
My sister, she's right there. Something might happen. We'll see what happens.
We'll just watch. We'll wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time. So he's pretty useless, but they eventually do get the sister, and they suck her little child soul out of her body, and they're
then,
young and beautiful once again.
Yeah, because they look terrible at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, as she says, younger.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
And then he eventually gets himself caught, and he does manage to knock over the cauldron, but it's too late because, like you said, the sister already has gotten the life sucked out of her. Then they put the spell on him. They're like, you know what? We're gonna make him suffer. So you know what? They're gonna make him a cat. Kitty cat. They're gonna make him remember. What do they say? They're gonna make him remember the guilt or something.
Yeah. So he is like, rather than letting him die, we will curse you by making you live forever. So you have to live with
that
the
guilt
of
whatever.
not
and they
being
make
able
him
to save
a
your sister.
black cat.
Very spooky, so very on
spooky.
brand. But that's such a cruel punishment to make
Yes.
someone live forever. That
I
sounds
know.
awful.
Literally, living with that guilt forever. Because as we learn from the cat later on, he's like still thinking about his sister like all the time, like especially around Halloween and everything.
300 years later.
Yes, because then they're hanged, and then they say they put a spell because they're like, okay, well, if a virgin will have to light the name of whatever candle it's called.
Black flame candle.
Yes, on Hallows Eve. And then that will take him out the ground. And of course, we flash forward 300 years later, 1993, and we know the first dude we see is going to be that virgin that lights the candle. I mean, you look at him already. He already has the stupid little look on his face. He's like, okay, this is all going to be his fault.
Yes, absolutely. You're thrown into this character who is like, I'm too cool for school.
Because he just moved from Los Angeles.
From LA,
so,
man.
So literally, I mean, they make it so damn obvious. Everyone in his classroom's all in dark clothes. He got his tie-dye on. Like, dudes from Hollywood.
From LA. Yeah, screw people from LA, man.
Anyway. You okay?
No. Anyway.
I haven't made the trip to LA yet, but I'm kind of scared. I've never heard good things.
Yeah, it's not great yet. Yet people, that's the first place they want to go, but it's fine. Anyway, so you learn more about Max and how he's very clearly, so he's very clearly not in the Halloween spirit as opposed to everyone else in this town who is extremely into Halloween, which like it's the town of Salem. I've never actually been, but I've heard that they are very much like that. Like they love Halloween because of like the history of the witches and everything. So there's like so much to celebrate there.
Right.
Well, not so much celebrate because they did kill a lot of innocent people, but
no, I get
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They enjoy Halloween.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yes. Yeah. So,
well, first we always say too in the classroom, he sees that girl he likes named Allison. And I don't remember how they got to this point in the conversation, but he was like, well, Jimi Hendrix shows up tonight. Like, here's my number. Yeah.
So she was explaining to him, like, the history of Halloween and how it was, like, the one day that the dead can return to mortals. And then he was like, ooh, I'm going to be smooth.
I was like, how did that work? There's no way that works. I don't care if we're in a movie. That doesn't work.
No. Well, very clearly it does not, because the following scene when they catch up again...
Oh, well, she gives it back to him.
She gives it back to him. Which, like, I do not blame her. If I found out that anyone, like, I could have, like, a possible interest in, or if they were interested in me, and they told me, oh, yeah, I don't believe in Halloween. I think it's stupid. I don't like it. I'd say, bye.
Oh,
goodbye.
Well, I think for you, that's a deal breaker, especially.
That is absolutely
that's like number one on your checklist. Are you into Halloween? Are you too spooky season? And if yes or no, then we'll go. Yes, so we'll go from there. We'll see. But no,
if not,
bye.
Yeah, no. Halloween, it's in my heart, and it is my first love. So can't get behind it.
That's fair.
We ain't cool. So this guy rubs me the wrong way. I'm not a fan of Max.
Oh, right from the bat. I will say, okay, I will say this right up front. I don't like this guy. And there's never really a point where I do like this guy, honestly. He annoyed me the whole movie.
Fair.
Because he's such an idiot. He's such an idiot. Like, damn near every bad thing that happens in this movie is his fault.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's stupid.
I'll say plenty of things throughout that kind of like back that up more for me. But anyway, well, the next thing, he runs into those two freaking what?
Spoilers. Okay, continue.
How big do I have to make this font? Jeez. Okay.
I know, but I'm remembering it.
Thank you. So then he runs into those two bozos. I don't know. I don't think you ever find out their names, but they're like, oh,
yes, it's Jay and Ernie, and he's like, hey, it's not Ernie no more. It's
It's ice. You're right.
Yeah, he's got it carved into his back.
His back. No, in the back of his head. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they already start calling him Hollywood. They take his shoes.
They're very, very dumb.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
I mean, they're really just there just to, be some...
Be someone that's worse than Max, so you don't hate him too much.
I don't hate him as much.
Yeah, honestly, that's what they're for.
I don't... Okay, when I say I hate Max, I don't think Max is like a bad character, like he's a bad person even. I was just like, I cannot get behind him because he just keeps like, I don't like...
He's annoying.
He's just annoying. I don't want to be around... Like, if he was a real life person, I would not want to be friends with him. And I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. But I don't think he's a bad person. You know what I mean? I just don't like his vibe. I guess it's just no. You're annoying me.
He's
Anyway,
not the vibe.
not the
I get it.
vibes.
He's not the vibe.
Also, I will say he's playing this angsty teen thing, kind of funny. Like the way he jogs up the stairs. He's like, I can't believe you made me move here. Like okay, Bella.
I'm an angry teen.
Like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, give me that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then you meet his little sister, though. Her name's Danny. You already know she's the fun one, and you know that
absolutely.
like she's already like into the Halloween thing. She's like, I heard about these sisters. Like, I'm so excited. Like she's zooted. She can't wait. But I will say later on, she's not really doing him any favors.
Oh no! So
yeah.
So they already, you can tell like there's a obstacle in their relationship as
It's a slight
siblings.
disconnect. Yeah.
Because but not even, I wouldn't even say disconnect per se. I would just say slight obstacle, because it's clear that he really does love his sister, and that the sister really loves her brother, and that she wants to spend that time with him. And it's clear that prior to moving, they did have that close relationship, but it was him becoming this angsty teen, having to be moved away from his home into a new place is where it is now. He's rebelling against his parents and like is angry at them, but in turn he is also angling that anger towards his sister, unfortunately. And his sister's like, well, no, I'm not
putting up with that. Like, that's not
no.
my fault.
Just
and I'm
stop.
sorry, like, I know you don't want to live here. We live here now. Like,
but she's like, yeah, but like, get over it. All right, like this is
I'm sorry,
this
we're
is
here.
our home now.
Like,
you know, and she wants to build that relationship back, and you know, going trick or treating, I think was like a nice bonding moment. Even if they did have that argument in the end, you saw how quickly they were able to make up, and that he genuinely felt bad for hurting his little sister. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think there's necessarily a disconnect with their relationship. Just
I get what you're saying. That might not be the right word, but like definitely an obstacle in the relationship. I get you. I thought it was funny though. She's like, well, I have my big brother here. Yeah. He's gonna, because they like, I guess they're leaving a house and like all those two bullies are back, and she's like, oh, he's a little leaguer. I'm like, girl, shut up.
Which, you know, fun fact, I don't know if like, I mean, I guess this isn't a fun fact, but more of like an observation I've made after watching the movie so many times. So when he left the house and he told his parents that he was dressed as a rap singer, and now she's saying he's a little leaguer. So there must have been like a misinformation with the script. I
didn't think little. Was she saying little leaguer like it was his costume?
Was his costume, yeah. Because he was like, what are you, like a new kid on the block, as like referring to his costume. And she's like,
yeah.
You know, for your information, he's a little leaguer. Yeah.
I think, yeah. I mean, to me, it just kind of seemed like he wasn't really wearing anything, so that's probably why they just said.
Yeah, no, I don't think it really. It matters absolutely nothing to the plot. It was just something that I've noticed after watching it.
I could not let this movie go. You're like, and for that reason, this is getting a 4 out of 10 because I could not.
Honestly,
let go of that.
No, I would never.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, I mean, he isn't standing up for himself. Like, at least she's trying to.
Yes, yeah, she could tell she's a firecracker of a character.
She's definitely
very much like that,
for sure. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, so they eventually, you know, they have their little bit of an argument. They make up, and they're like, "All right, time to hit up this rich person's home. Let's see this giant mansion." And everyone knows the rich people give out those full candy bars, so you always got to go to those homes. Those king size candy bars. Ooh, those are the best houses. So of course they go in. And what are the odds? It's Allison's home. Allison. And the sister starts playing a little bit of a wingman for his brother, though he doesn't quite appreciate it as much as she thinks she is helping him.
He should, yeah.
Yeah, but she is helping him, trying to get the girl, because before she recognized the name that the brother,
because he was like having his fantasies and she was in the room and all that kind of stuff. He was like, oh, Allison.
But yeah, that was
so then they talk, and then Danny and Allison are talking about the Sandersons, and he's like, well, why don't we just go to the house, like, so like, make me a believer. And she's like, no, like, no, let's do it. Like, I'm like, this is not how you do this. Well, like, if you want her,
he is. you know how it goes, like with like guys who are trying to like land a girl, and it's like, oh,
I
let me
get
take
it,
her to
but-
somewhere scary, so where she's scared, I can be like, oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. You know,
But his sister said it best. Like, take her to the movies like a normal person.
yeah, that's fair. Like once again, his sister is, you know, the better character.
The thread
out
of
the
common
two.
sense throughout this. Better character. That is true.
Yes. So. You know.
But you know what? Forget it. That doesn't service the plot. So they do go to the house. They go to the Sanderson house. And then I actually want to bring up a quick little theory I have about this movie. I don't know if people have talked about this. Very minor detail. No one cares about this, but it was just something I wanted to bring up. So when they get to the house, Allison, he's like telling her, oh, like light up the candle. And she's like, no, I don't want to do it. You think it's because she's scared, right? Like, obviously she's scared. I
I know
think
where you're going with this.
she's not a fucking virgin. I don't think she couldn't do it. And she didn't want to reveal it. That's my
Yeah.
theory.
I definitely didn't see it as a kid, but watching it as an adult, I'm like, I always kind of have that in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, if she had lit it,
I'm like, but if anything had
something
happened,
happening, would anything have happened? Would they have been safe?
like,
But
yeah.
nope. Unfortunately, Max.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Max has to go, no, this is all just a bunch of hocus pocus.
So Max he goes through with it, lights a black flame candle, and
does.
he's a virgin. So of course he brings the witches back. The witches return.
They return, they're going to come back and steal your soul.
So they come back and they're like, okay, there's a child here. Let's find the child. So they find Danny, and she plays it off pretty well. She, like, once again, she is very smart and has the most common sense.
For sure.
Most of the time. And so she's like, okay, so, you know, they caught me. How do I play this off? I am also a witch. What are the odds, sisters? I've been waiting for you, you know? And they don't quite buy it, unfortunately. Though I would say, you know, that last stitch effort.
It was worth a
Way
shot.
to go. Worth a
I give her
shot.
props. And she's 8, what, she 8 years old in the movie? Like,
Yeah.
the character?
I think, she was like 7,
Yeah, I mean,
8.
come on. Like, you got to give her props.
Give her props. Yeah.
Now that these sisters are back in the picture, I feel like the movie gets so much better whenever they're in the movie.
Oh,
love
absolutely. So like from the costumes to their script to just the acting, everything about them,
love it.
perfect. It is absolutely perfect. I mean, they obviously are like the main focus of the movie. They bring so much energy to the movie.
Yes.
They're just incredible. I love them so much.
I love how they take absolutely nothing about themselves seriously. I love the silly tone of the movie. Like, there's even moments of like little like slapstick humor, but I think it fits like so good.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just so perfect.
I think it's great, especially like once they're back into it. Something I didn't really remember. When they come back, obviously they're back 300 years later, so it kind of turns into sort of a fish out of water kind of story.
Yeah,
which I loved. I thought was so
is very
funny. They're like, it is but water. Like, they didn't know what was running down on them. Because well, first I guess I should say what happened was, he like activated the sprinklers, or not the sprinklers, but the, you know.
Yeah. No.
And he's like, he makes fire in his hand. Like, they don't even know what a lighter is. And then they're like running to get out.
Yeah.
And then
they think that the water is going to like kill them and
kill them. Yeah, like Wizard of Oz or something. And then they see they get out of the house and they see the road. 'Tis a black river.
'Tis firm. Yeah, and
then the police siren scaring them. It's just, oh my god.
Yeah, it's all very new to them. It's hilarious. It's incredible. And then also I like that, just like from the, like, even honestly from the first interaction you saw with them, like at the beginning of the movie, you immediately like understand who they are as characters. And you understand that like Winnie is like constantly she's one in control. She's like, you know, controlling the two sisters and everything. But it's like, and then they just have these like personalities where like Mary is such like this like yes man character, and Sarah is the one that's also, she's like, I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear, but I'm gonna do what I want.
Right.
And like things like that. And I love it. Everything about them is so fun.
I just
and
think
it's
the
so
dynamic
funny.
they have with each other, like it is a lot of fun. And I think you get a lot of really good like comedy out of it.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this. Like, I was watching them act more and more. Is there, maybe you know this, is there a Hocus Pocus musical? Do you know? Like, has that happened?
Not like an official one, although I have heard a song of someone like doing of the song, like I Put a Spell on You. And it sounded like something that would come from a musical, but I don't think it's like an official, like a Broadway musical or anything. If anything, it was probably like a fan-made musical or something like that.
Because I was watching the Mac and I'm like, this would be a great musical.
I agree.
Outside of that, I think the way they deliver their lines, like their comedy, like, and then like you were saying, the energy, it felt very theatrical to me.
Yes.
And like obviously, I think with Kenny Ortega like directing it, like I said, like, his background with like musical theater and everything, I'm like, okay, it makes sense.
It makes
but like
sense,
I just felt like for the movie it works really well. I'm like, I feel like this could work on stage. Like I really do feel like it.
We should, if there is not already one, we should totally get on that. We should make it.
I think we should just do it ourselves and cast ourselves as all three sisters.
Yes, absolutely. I call Sarah. She seems like the most fun.
I'll call Billy the zombie.
Oh yeah, Billy. Oh, I love Billy.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on along with the plot. So the witches are back. And we also learn that Binks the cat talks.
He does talk.
So at this point, Max, like none of them are like he kind of was surprised at first, but he kind of gets over it pretty quickly, which is understandable because he just brought some witches back to life.
Right.
So he's like, okay, so this is a weird night overall. But if they follow Binks and he takes them to the cemetery where they learn it is holy ground and they can't step foot on it. Otherwise, they will turn to stone and dust. So
I kind of missed that. It explains the ending.
What, you thought that they were just hovering over the cemetery because they just didn't feel like walking?
I mean, they're kind of dumb witches.
That's fair. Yes, but this is it was like they can't step on the cemetery grounds.
Got it.
Yeah, so that is kind of like their safe area that they can be in without getting like touched by the witches.
Right.
But unfortunately, Winifred / Sarah have this old fling, Billy Butcherson, who has been dead for a while, obviously. Well, they decide to brew. Winnie brings him back to try and go get the kids, go get the children.
Right. Like use them as a weapon against them.
Use them as a weapon. So now they're running not only from the witches, but from Billy, the zombie. Which, do you know, were you able to pick up on the story of Billy in like...
What do you mean?
His relationship with Winnie and Sarah?
No.
Oh, okay. So let me tell it to you. So apparently, it's a little bit of chisme. Billy was with Winnie, but Sarah, he like cheated on Winnie with Sarah. And so like she's like, "That's my sister, you fool!" And sewed his mouth shut, killed him.
Oh,
I think, I think that was like how it ended. Well, I think he might have like cursed him or something too. But I don't know. It's like icing on
where'd
the
you
cake,
get all this from? Was this in the movie? They explain this. In the movie?
It's very quick. It's a very quick blink and you miss it sort of thing where Binks briefly kind of goes over it, but it all is like happening in a. Okay. Where just like so much information is being thrown at you, it's kind of hard to miss. Like you wouldn't catch it the first time around.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd ask you if you caught it because I know you haven't seen it so many times, but I've seen it
I didn't.
Too many times, so I do know the story like the back of my hand.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so you'll know a little bit more about Billy.
Okay.
And
that makes
the
more
reason
sense about Billy.
Yeah, it makes more sense at the end why he was.
Yeah, I get the anger and everything now.
We'll get back to that.
I will say though, like seeing Billy though, I think the practical effects here were like really good too. Which, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. Like it's a '90s movie. Like I feel like most '90s movies that did it, like obviously it's practical, it's gonna look good. But I just the thought that came to my mind is, if this was made today, like it would just be some like really bad looking CGI.
Probably. Yeah.
And which then I was reminded after that, like we are getting a Hocus Pocus sequel next year.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope they don't do that for the sequel. Like, I really hope they stick practical, but I don't really have my hopes up for that.
Yeah, hope practical.
Because next thing you're gonna see the
magic.
sisters flying around on like fake brooms, and I'm just gonna be out of it. I'm just not
I
looking
hope
forward to
not.
that.
Yeah, I hope they gotta stick to the roots of what made this movie special to begin
What
with.
made it a cult classic? I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's hope for the best with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as the movie progresses, so we also see Binks get run over by a car, and it's like, oh no, Binks! And it's like, oh, never mind, he's fine.
Oh wait, yeah. Well, I think that happened was so the sisters ended up getting on this bus, and they were like, "What is this contraption?" Like,
Oh, yes.
and then the driver, this dude's like really
Creepy.
looking for company. Yeah, creepy. I
Yeah.
was trying to find another way.
Yeah, looking for company.
The line that stuck out to me was they were talking. He was like, I don't remember. He said something along the lines like I'll take you to anywhere you want. Or I'll give you anything you want or something. And they were saying how they want children. And he's like, well, it might take me a couple tries, but
Yeah.
but like I'll
Like I
get there.
said,
I'm like,
creepy.
and then he does. Yeah, he hits. Yeah, he like hits the cat and is like, oh, speed
Well,
bump.
Technically, Sarah does because she's driving.
Because she's
in his
driving,
lap.
she's like on his lap, and it's
Yeah,
just like okay.
which again, creepy, but also is fitting to Sarah's character.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so so that was funny. That was a funny scene, just seeing the creep. But then
Creep
ultimately we learn a little bit more about Binks and how it's like, oh yeah, he can't die.
He can't die. At first, when they said like, oh, like he's not dead, I thought he was like a 9 live cat. But no, he like can't. He has unlimited lives.
He's got that unlimited lives thing. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, that's good for him.
you know, he just respawns and he's fine.
Yeah.
So eventually the kids are like, all right, well, we're just kids. We can't handle this. We need to talk to some adults here. So first they try and find this police officer, which I thought this was funny because he's like, really? You're a virgin? And he's like, I don't have time for this.
Which
like these witches.
I found it interesting, like for a kids movie, how often they were like making jokes about virginity and everything.
Yeah.
Like in a kids movie, I'm just like wouldn't kids? My first thought was like, okay, wouldn't kids watching that keep asking, like, since they bring up that word so much, like when they ask what a virgin is, but then I'm like, we saw it as kids and we probably didn't. I didn't notice it.
Cross our, I mean, there's a lot of different point. Again, this is an older movie, so a lot of the things that are in there wouldn't have flown now.
They probably wouldn't make those same jokes. Not saying like I'm not saying those jokes were totally like out of line or inappropriate.
No,
but I guess,
no, nothing like that. It's just more of like there's more careful. People are more careful with like their subtlety of the jokes.
Yeah.
These are more right out front about it.
Right. All. Makes sense.
So I mean, like there's that. There's like smoking in the movie. There's it's a lot of things that wouldn't fly.
Not anything major, but just kind of things.
But nothing. Nothing that's like, oh, I would never let my kids watch this.
Watch
today,
it because they made a joke about being a virgin. Like it's like okay,
no,
like,
it's something like that. But yeah, so that is an interesting point to make of the movie.
Yeah, and I love too how when they finally get to the neighborhood, the sisters, like all the children are wearing costumes, and it kind of like disguises them, like they don't recognize that they're just.
She's like, I smell them, but I don't see them anywhere.
And then they see like that guy in like that devilish costume, and they're like, Master.
Gary Marshall.
Is that Gary Marshall?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Gary Marshall and his wife.
Oh.
Fun fact for you there. He plays the devil, but yeah.
Okay.
So there's a little fun fact for you there. But yeah, so Gary Marshall's there. He plays the devil. He's entertaining the witches, which they are fully convinced that he is Satan himself. And they're like, oh my God, Master, you're here. Like, we've lost our book. Which we haven't even talked about the book. Yeah, so the book is their magic book of spells, which is very important to them because if they don't have that book back, we also have not talked about like the rules of them being back. So like they have to. You light the black flame candle. They have till the end they have till dawn. They have till dawn of the following day after Halloween to suck the souls of children. Otherwise, they are back to being dead.
Yeah.
So So they are on the hunt to.
And then they need that book to make the
Yes.
spells.
The
to-
book that the kids now have, because Binks was like, hey, you brought them back, at least keep the book away from them, because
Right.
that is what's going to keep them here
Because
forever.
without the book, they're not going to know how to. They don't
know
remember
how to
the
make this
ingredients.
spell. It has
Yeah.
been 300 years, so,
They're not gonna
understandably,
remember
they've forgotten. So now they're on the hunt for a solution to try and figure out what was in this potion, so we can
Right.
steal these children's souls. So they're hoping that Satan will help.
Give me
Unfortunately,
answers.
yeah, he does not help. So
There's that.
yeah, so there's that whole scene.
You're like, that's about it for that. But I love.
But anyway, back
didn't-
to the kids.
So I was gonna ask you though. So then they're well, before they kicked out of the house, Winnie's like, she looks in the kitchen. She's like, oh, a torture chamber. Like, was she saying the kitchen was a torture chamber, or like, was she looking at the oven specifically, or was it just kind of the whole kitchen?
I think it was the kitchen in general, because it was
'Cause,
like
like,
there
she
was
saw
like a
all the different-
mallet,
Yeah, like
and
torture
all the
chamber.
appliances. So yeah,
And then the wife is like telling the witches to get out, and Mary's just like with the remote, like,
like trying to.
she's like shut her up.
Yeah,
I just love the comedy. Oh my god! But
it
yeah,
really is. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, the whole scene, it is very funny to watch, just their interaction. Again, like interacting with people who believe that they're just like these women in costumes dressed as the
Yeah.
Sanderson sisters, not
Right.
realizing that they
Actually,
are
they
the Sanderson
actual
sisters.
right?
So it's like them, and then them just not understanding how the world works in general. It just
Right.
the contrast is hilarious.
I think it's so funny. I
Yeah.
agree. I was
but
gonna
yeah,
say too,
so-
real quick. Sarah at one point she's like amok, 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 amok. I'm like, that's Martha.
Come on. When you get that word stuck in your head and you just like, and you can't stop saying it.
That's it brought me to you.
Yeah,
I think that you.
that's
would
how
say
my
that.
brain works.
Yeah.
It's like I hear a word and I just gotta say it over and over
You
again.
kind of just say it over again.
Or like or like TikToks or something. Right now, the sound that's stuck in my head is the one of the little kid where he's like, "Oh no, the table, it's broken."
Oh,
That's like my favorite.
I think I've heard that. The one for me has been Adele saying "divorce, babe, divorce."
Yeah, see, we all
That's
got that
that.
one sound in their head. They
What's
just
my
keep
body
playing
count? What's that
over and
mean?
over. Oh,
Love her.
yeah, that whole.
But then, so
life.
then they're like, okay, let's find our parents. So they show up to the Halloween party that they're
Which-
at.
Party of the century.
It
I
looks-
kind of want to be there.
It looks fun. Like everyone's in costumes, dancing, having fun,
know.
like living it up in the '90s. I'm like, this looks like such a fun party. And then,
Pre-COVID.
oh yeah, I'm like, where are their masks?
Anyway,
No, but this is now Kenny Ortega's musical moment, right?
oh,
like
he is. This is his
I'm
shining
like, he was
moment.
living
He's
for
like-
this
He said, "Step back, bitches. This is my time."
time.
He's also very gay, if you didn't know.
Oh yeah.
so I guarantee that's what happened.
that's probably exactly what he was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they sing the song.
I put a spell on you,
Yes.
and now you're mine. Yeah, that
Which
one.
is funny because she's literally putting a spell.
Putting a spell on them.
Leonardo. So if it's the
So
song,
they great
yeah.
performance.
she's
Wonderful
great.
performance.
which once again fits the tone of the movie, and like I said, the stage adaptation would not be a bad idea. Like, come on, man, that would be so good on Broadway or stage or any kind of whatever.
So
but
good.
it'd be great. And their
Yeah.
way of putting a spell on everyone is through song. Like, it's smart. It's so smart,
Perfect.
especially, dude. Like, especially when your songs like have phrases you're gonna repeat over and over again. Like, okay, the crowd's gonna repeat it back. It's gonna be like a back and forth thing with the crowd. Come on, man. So sometimes these
great.
witches are complete idiots, but sometimes they got some genius in them. I mean, that's where they got to
They
where
got
they
so
are.
smart. Well, yeah, I mean the whole scene where it's how like it led up to their performance. It was Max. He was like trying to explain to everyone. He's like, "Your children are in danger. The Sanderson sisters are back, and like they're right here, and you guys need to help us." And then they take it as in because like everyone looks at them, and at first they're kind of like, "Not me."
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about. But then eventually they're like, all right, we can use this. He's like, thank you for that marvelous introduction, Max. And
Yeah.
and then everyone buys it as in like they're just like a performance that was high. Like the whole
Right.
thing was a performance, like including
Right.
Max trying to convince everyone.
So
So
they're good at playing that off.
they're good at playing it off. Exactly.
So then after that happens, they had come up with a plan. They're gonna lure them to the high school. they get to the high school, and somehow they manage to trap them in through. Well, they burn them alive. Basically, is what they try to do.
Yes. Yeah. So they burn him alive in the art room, and it seems all too easy. You're just kind of like, wow,
You're just like,
the witches are dead.
but did you ever really think they were gonna be dead?
No, they're never really dead.
They're like
See,
Michael. Okay, they're like Michael Myers. They're not gonna just die like that.
you can't just assume that they're dead until you see a dead body,
Hey,
and then
right.
you're like, okay, they're dead. And that goes for any movie that you have some people who are after you. Do not assume that they just died.
It's
You
fair.
can't do that. All right,
Yes,
so
no.
you know,
And
these
but
people
clearly
suck.
they're judging the characters that we're following. Of course, they didn't know that.
They
So,
believe it. They're celebrating.
so yeah, they think it's over. And then they're like, Binks, like you're a denizen now. Like, okay, it's okay. I know what happened when Binks is
Sweet.
sad. You've barely known this cat.
But hey, you know, when you go through like a trauma situation with people,
I
you
guess.
tend to
You
bond
feel-
to those people.
I mean, apparently, especially so with Allison and Max, because they're just like
Because suddenly she's very into him.
she's very
as
into him,
opposed to this
very
morning.
intimate, like
Yes.
cuddling everything.
They're cuddling in the room.
I'm like, all
and
right.
they're like,
that was a quick turnaround, but sure. I mean, feeling the emotions a little quick, but it's fine. I got okay. I got so much of a laugh out of this. So, well, okay, I will say this: they do survive. They just walk out of there like nothing happened, and so they're walking out to school, and then they see those two, Jay and Ernie. You said their names.
Yeah.
They see them. I love it when he's like, and how come it's always the ugly chicks that stay out late?
Yeah.
And you think what offends them is ugly, and she's like, chicks.
Yeah. There. You also get the sense that they are very sensitive people, and
Yeah.
they're very vain.
Yes.
You know, they really care about beauty above all. Obviously, because their whole thing for this movie is trying to be young again. So
Right. Yeah. They just want to feel young and
feel young
that
and,
kind of thing.
and beautiful.
yes.
But yeah. So
But like we said, they are alive. But the kids, they don't know that. Of course, they don't know.
they
that,
don't.
Right?
They don't know that. And
The
in
witches
their
are
head,
dead. What harm? Like, there's nothing left to do. Like,
there's nothing left to do. Now we're gonna help Binks because he's still cursed to live forever, which should have been kind of a telling thing that it's like if the witches die, so do the curses. No, but they didn't understand that, so they decided, well, let's check in the book and see.
Like,
Open
if
up the
there's a
book.
way to fix it, it's in the book.
It's in the book.
Binks told us not to open the book, but we're helping Binks. We're gonna help
we gotta
him.
open the book.
We got it. We're gonna open the
Gotta
book.
do it.
No, dumb fucks. You don't open the book because you basically just sent the witches your location.
Yeah, basically. It was
Like, come on,
yeah,
man.
it was like a Find My Friends thing, and
Yeah, that's
they found the
exactly what it was.
friend.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah, just so
Right
happens
when they
that-
were like preparing for their death and everything.
I
Like they're
know,
so
she-
dramatic about dying.
she
She's
was
like,
like, "Take me to the
"Goodbye,
window."
cruel world. They took me to the window. Goodbye.
yeah,
And then
so
they see like the orange beam shoot out of the sky, and they're like, they're alive. They opened the book. Let's get them.
yes, like idiots.
Come on, man.
So they returned back to get the book, even if it was open for a short amount of time. They figured out where it is. They get to the
Yes.
book, and while Allison and Max are like trying to get ready to take Allison home because it's already like 5 a.m. and she's still not home.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And which my parents would have murdered me, but you know,
Oh, yeah.
she's rich, so you know, whatever.
Right. It's different. They didn't even know she was
So
gone.
it's- yeah, they didn't even care. But so they on the way home they find out that a circle of salt is going to be useful to keep away the witches.
Yes.
So she gets her salts, but as they're downstairs,
But I will say this: why did it take them so long to find salt in that house? Like, did y'all not just season your? Did y'all not season your food? But I think
Nah,
about they're white.
they're white.
Like, of course they don't, right?
And so that's what you need to know.
Of course they don't season their food. Like, that makes sense why the salt would be at the very top cabinet. Like, they don't use it. Like, of course not. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, yeah. So they do eventually find the salt, but unfortunately, they hear a ruckus from upstairs, and they're like, "Oh, Danny's upstairs." So they run upstairs, and the witches, they're there because they found the book.
Before they get there though, earlier in the movie, yes, their brooms are stolen. Earlier in the movie.
How could I forget?
This is one of the funniest jokes in the movie. How did you not bring this up?
You're right.
Their brooms are gone. They were stolen earlier. So then once they leave, Winnie finds a broom, so she's good. Sarah walks out with a mop. She makes that work. And then freaking Mary with the damn vacuum cleaner. And it's going flying off with the cord hanging off.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
When I saw that the last time, I was dying. It's just like
it's very funny. Which like again, this movie just makes you laugh at every turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're very resourceful.
Give them props. Like they took something and they had nothing. They made it work and
made it work. So yeah. So they got Danny, and now they're trying to get the rest of the sisters. Sarah sings that pretty song that lures all the children out. And they finally get back to where the witch's home is. And Max is like, hey, you're stupid, and knowledge is power. And is basically what he says. And then, but he ends up tricking them again because, again, they don't, this is a new world for them. They don't know what's happening. So he's like, daylight saving time, baby. And you're going to, like, the night is over before you even realized it. So you can't even get these kids. And they believe it because they put the headlights of the car through the window. And they're like, oh, it's the sun. Like, that's it. We're done for.
It's over.
Yeah, so they're very they're easily tricked over and over again.
It's just like that was the thing. It's like in some points they're so smart and they're like the stupidest at the same time. But it's their charm too. It's
part of their charm. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the kids managed to get away. And although they have plenty of children at their disposal to use to suck their souls, Winnie has her eye on that little girl, Danny, because she called her ugly. And she was like, how dare you call me ugly? And she's like, I have a personal vendetta against this little girl. Yeah.
Because she's like, you don't even know me.
Yeah. So she got greedy and she went to go follow the kids. And they go through that little chase and she's like, pull over, let me see your driver's permit.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, how would you know?
I know. It's like resisting arrest or something. Yeah,
very cheesy lines there, but
I'm like, pull up the window, fool.
Like,
why does he have his
I can't.
She keeps like reaching in the window. I'm like, pull up your window.
Very simple. Why were you driving with the windows down?
And he's going around, yeehaw. I'm like, fool, you're not in Texas. You're from California. Yeah. What are you doing?
You're from California. What are you saying yeehaw for?
Why are you yeehaw, bro? And then you're in Salem. You're not in fucking like El Paso or like on the border or like or anywhere in Texas. Like, stop. This kid. I don't like him. Anyway.
Yeah, you really do not like this kid. Anyway, which also one more thing. Has anyone thought maybe we should just blow out the candle? Like, what happens then? Like, it's a 50-50 shot. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But either way, try it out.
Try it. Like, come on. Like, the only other option is letting them stay and sucking the souls out of all the children here. Like, you might as well just try blowing the candle out.
They do not.
But no, they don't do that.
It doesn't click for them. But anyway.
They don't get it.
They make it back to the cemetery.
Yes,
which is kind of like their final. It's kind of
like the final. This is the climax of the movie right here.
Climax of the movie. So Billy is back, and eventually they realize Billy was never chasing them. He really just hates Winnie, and he finally gets the chance to tell her.
You like insulted this guy so much with all the history you mentioned earlier. Obviously, he's gonna be on their side, not yours.
Very obviously.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Don't do that to Billy.
You know, he's a little pissed. But then he gets his head knocked off, and then the little sister is no longer as smart as she was before, because she goes and she's like, oh, I should help him, and gets out of the freaking grave that was keeping her safe. And of course, that is the chance for Winnie to take her and pick her up and fly her up and to try and give her the potion. But Max, he's like, no, I'm going to sacrifice myself for my sister. He does so. But luckily, he puts up enough of a fight. And eventually, it does not work. Well, for the witches. For him, it works.
For him, yes.
Yeah, so he did end up taking the potion. She was about to start sucking his soul. But
it is dawn.
It is dawn. 'Tis dawn. And the witches are dead.
Yes. Dude, the way they explode, pretty freaking cool looking.
Magical. It's like, goodbye.
I know. It's great. I will say, though, during that final confrontation, I did have a few quick thoughts. So, first of all, I don't know if you noticed, first with the shoes, but then the bag. Nike really had their
they had a
hold on this movie. Because you have to realize this was 90s when they weren't, like, as big, obviously, as they are now. Like, this was, like, I mean, Jordan was, like, the thing that put him on the map and stuff. So I'm like, they probably needed the sponsor. Anyway. Noticed all that salt they were using to protect themselves, but clearly had none left to season their food. And then at this point, obviously, like I was saying, I was kind of rooting for the witches. I'm not going to lie to you. Because I think Winnie is such a queen. Honestly.
She really is.
And Max was just annoying the hell out of me. And then on top, then I was already thinking that. And then she's like, and then, Billy, I think it's Billy. He's like, go to hell. And she's like, I've been there. It's quite fine and quite lovely.
Yes, I love that.
I'm like,
iconic.
Wayne. And then, how did the potion not come out the vial when it was like falling through the sky?
So I thought about that, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. But actually, that does, like, scientifically, that is possible. So if you like put liquid, like some sort of liquid on like a just, I can't think of a word, like a flat piece that is held up by string, and you start swinging it around with enough momentum, the liquid is going to stay pushed against the container. So with the bottle, if the bottle had enough momentum to like continuously turn, it is possible that it
That's very interesting. Okay.
Exit the vial. Science. Boom.
I hear that. Do you think they thought about that?
No, definitely not.
That's all I'll say. And then my last note, the last like big like comedic moment for me was Mary on the vacuum cleaner, and they're using the cord to hold her back. I thought it was so funny.
Oh,
she's like with the cord.
Yeah, no, that was the final icing on the cake there for that beautiful joke that was created.
It was great.
Absolutely, I loved that.
But like you said, at the end, they're gone. And really, you kind of see the end of the story. I mean, really, the heart of it is just kind of the relationship between siblings, right? Like, not just Max and Danny. Like, they're good together as siblings again. But Binks, his soul is now free. He's reunited with his sister. He returns. His sister. Really, I mean, that's the heart of the story. It's this connection between the siblings and all that. And then that's the end of the movie. Basically, wraps up like that.
And it's a happy ending. We get one final shot of the book opening up its eye again. So it's like, ooh, sequel. Like, and guess what?
I guess there is a sequel. They're getting a sequel now. What is it? 30 years later, almost? Supposed to come out next year.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm excited for it for sure.
Yes. Interesting that it's going straight to Disney Plus and not to theaters. But I figure I guess they figure it'll do better on streaming. But
yeah, probably.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I actually, who's involved in this? So it's directed by someone named Anne Fletcher, who directed, this is her filmography? Step Up. Okay, I mixed up. Step Up, 27 Dresses. Not a fan of that one. The Proposal, which is that movie with
I love that movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It is hilarious. I love that movie.
She did The Guilt Trip, which is with Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Hot Pursuit, that movie with Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara. I never saw that. But
Yeah, I never
that
saw
movie Dumplin', did you see that one on Netflix?
I did see that one. Yeah,
I did like that one.
I thought that was a cute movie.
So that's, I mean, hey, sure.
Some hits and misses. Wait,
More,
yeah, some hits
definitely
and
more
misses.
misses than hits. But yeah.
know.
Okay. But she's also like a choreographer too, apparently. So and she's a dancer and everything. So that definitely fits.
Nice.
You know,
Fits the mold.
Fits the mold of this. I'm trying to see. So they're all gonna reprise their roles as the sisters. The composer is coming back.
Nice.
And okay, that's about all I know right now. But yeah,
That's enough.
that's all we need to know, right? That's all we need. Until we get the trailer and we just start complaining. This sucks. We'll see what
Can't wait
happens.
for that.
But anyway, we're talking about the first one.
Yes.
What were your overall thoughts then on this movie?
I mean, overall, I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. I can watch it over and over again, which I have.
Yeah, you've already proven to do that.
Yes, yeah, I can. I honestly, I didn't need to watch this movie again, but I decided to do it anyway because I love it so much. But I know it so well, like I can quote it. It's just everything about this movie is just so, it again, like I said before, it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Watching it since I was a kid. But I love it. Again, Kenny Ortega, he can do no wrong in my eyes. I love that man with all my heart.
I will say, I think the only thing I've seen from him are those High School Musical movies. Maybe this is it. I probably watched that when he passed away, Michael Jackson. But a High School Musical,
That's wrong.
that alone
The
is
Cheetah
like,
Girls?
okay.
You ever saw Cheetah Girls?
Did he direct that too?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that when I was doing my research.
Well,
I wanna make sure. If he didn't direct it, he definitely like did choreography on it, right?
He did. Oh, you know what? I think it was choreography, maybe. But he did have a big part in
He
Cheetah
didn't direct
Girls.
it, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he had a part in like.
Yeah, he was part of like the dance scene, especially for
Okay.
Cheetah Girls 2, which is
He did.
arguably
He
the
directed
best.
Cheetah Girls 2. He directed Cheetah Girls 2.
Okay, yeah, which once again is the best Cheetah Girls. So
So makes
so
sense.
what does that tell you?
Did he also
Exactly.
do the third one?
I hope not. No,
he
definitely
didn't.
not. No,
So he
exactly.
definitely did.
Exactly.
He only did.
He can do no wrong.
That proves our point about Kenny Ortega.
Proves my point. There you go. The second they took him off the film, worst movie ever. I refuse to watch it, and I love the Cheetah Girls, but
That's
not.
interesting. That's
the third
funny.
one.
Okay.
do
Well,
no wrong.
at least for
Perfect.
myself, I I really enjoy this movie. I get a really big kick out of the comedy, especially. I mean, that's really what carries this through for me. I think anytime all three of the sisters are on screen together, it's great. Like, it's so much fun. Whenever they're not, I won't say it gets boring, but I'm definitely not the same energy that I would like to see all the time. But definitely, like I said, I mean, even with that, it's like, okay, it's fine. It's like, it's a serviceable story, but it's really just those three sisters. Bette Midler in particular, I think, is amazing. I think she's so funny.
Incredible.
And,
I love her.
yeah, I mean, she's easily, I think out of the three, she was my favorite, but I think all three of the sisters were great. So yeah, I have a lot of fun with this. I definitely have no issues watching this every Halloween. Definitely a really fun movie. So yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to point out, or do you have a score?
Kenny Ortega, once again, incredible man. If you have not watched Julie and the Phantoms, please do so. They have not given us a season 2 yet, and it's honestly so rude. Anyway, to the score. I think I'm going to give this movie, I want to say, I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
8? Okay.
I was going to say like 7.5, but I love this movie so much.
No, I get it.
I want to bump it up a bit.
Not quite there for me. I'm gonna give it a very, very good, like a high 7 out of 10. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this, but I can definitely see why it's higher for you, especially because I mean, you watched this probably way more than I have, and also like, I mean, yeah, how many? I mean, I'm sure before we watched it for this. How many times have you watched it this year alone? Probably. Like,
Just this year? Well, I saw it for this. I saw it like a couple weeks ago, and then I watched it a couple times over the summer too. So
okay.
just this year, probably like 4 or 5.
Oh, see, yeah, there you go. That's more than I've seen it probably in my lifetime, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do remember last summer when COVID hit, and like I really pretty much the only movie theaters open were like drive-ins. Hocus Pocus was popping. Like I remember it was a few weeks actually. I was reading articles. It was always like number 1 and number 2 ranking like for the whole summer. Like because so many people would go see it at drive-ins. I'm like,
so great.
oh, come on.
It's a classic.
We'll have to see what happens with 2. That'll be fun. I'm hoping good things, but I know we're gonna get very good things though, because next week is our unfortunately last week of Spooky October.
So sad.
I know. We'll definitely talk about like more scary movies or horror movies, whatever, like throughout the year. Like as it's not like we're only gonna talk about this month, but the celebration unfortunately has to come to a close. Hopefully we can do it in person. We're college students and just busy, and
timing is stupid.
Yeah. I will say though, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we did this last week. I think all the episodes this month we have recorded at night. Did we do Orphan at night?
I think so.
I think we have. So we've kept in the spirit at least.
Yeah, we did do it at night. We have done every episode at night.
We did them all at night, and before that, we had never done it at night. So I think that's funny. That's not even like a planned thing. It just happened to be like that.
Just so happened.
So definitely next week we're definitely gonna try to go for it in person. And I say a night shoot sounds like a good idea.
Yes,
for sure.
Close it off nicely. Yeah, yes, for sure.
But we will close it off with our last movie for spooky season October. Martha, do you remember it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is Monster House.
Yes, that is right. So next week's movie is Monster House. If you have not seen it, or if you need a rewatch or anything like that, it's streaming right now on Netflix. Make sure to check that out. And that will wrap up our spooky season. But I know we're gonna be very excited to talk about Monster House, another kind of nostalgic movie for us both, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right. Anything else here? Oh, obviously. Keep listening to us. Keep watching us. Wherever you may do that. Oh, okay. Spotify. Apple Podcasts. Yeah, audio. Do it there. Video.
We got it all.
Or do both. We appreciate all the support. Yes. Video is on... I'm disappearing again. Oh, my God. Video on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe to our channel. Engage with us. Talk with us. Do that also on social medias. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All at Enter Wider Screen. It's a beautiful community we have there. It's so tight-knit.
Absolutely. By tight-knit, we have no followers. But
we mean like 0. But it's, it's not 0. But... yeah, join us on there. It's a wonderful community that we're building.
Yep.
We'll do that.
Slowly but surely, we're growing.
Any last thing you want to say before we end this today?
You all are bewitching.
You should end... I have an idea. You should... It's just like how I start every episode like a riddle. You should end every episode with like a pun. Like a really bad pun.
Oh, I love that idea, actually, because I'm really good at puns.
Yes. You're a pun gal.
Yes. I'm so ready for this. Okay. I'll start working on them.
We'll start next week, but now that you're saying that, I think that'd be great. All right. Yes. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.